Hi, I'm Rigger. This is Your Right, and we are discussing the episode Boba. This episode focuses on Ruby and Yang going together to a surprise. This episode was really nice, and it focused on something that a lot of people have said needed more focus in the series, which is the sisterly aspect of the two, and also addresses the fact that it hasn't covered that as much. But also, it's just nice. There's actually less in this episode than you think there would be. It's not as dramatic and as, revolutionary as you'd think, but it's still very important. The entire opening is based just around Ruby and Yang chit-chatting. You've been hyping up this big surprise. Maybe it's dumb. Okay, setting expectations to moderate. In fact, it's just Ruby and Yang having fun. They even say, it's been a while since we did the sisterly thing. And they just are acting. The way it reminded me the most is at the train station in Volume 6, when they just act goofy, where Ruby buys something from the gift shop and Yang's, "What did you get me?" And you'll have to wait to find out, and they tussle. Like, that is what it reminded me of. That family, cheery thing. It doesn't really matter what's going on around them, but they have that connection. They have that thing that lets you know that they're together in this. And it's been a long time since we've seen that, obviously, and there was very good reasons. I do actually think it's quite interesting and quite important that on the way to where they were going, they get stopped. Sorry, are you Ruby, the one who brought the message to the world, and the one who brought the world together? And she says, yeah, and she takes photos with them, and they're incredibly impressed at how to meet her, and Ruby exclaims that she's not gonna get used to that. And we get a lovely callback. Yang saying, "Still want those normal knees, huh?" Like, that's a callback to episode 1, and that makes your soul warm, Yes, she still wants to be a normal girl with normal knees, but that's never going to happen now. You are the girl who brought the world together. You are Ruby, you are the face of the last holdout of mankind. You're the one who told the truth. And that's something you'll never come down from. And Yang says that how proud she is, but Ruby says they need more than a mascot. And she is right, but they also do need a mascot. Something to rally behind, a banner to put their faith in. And by circumstance, that's Ruby. And by a miracle to everyone, Ruby returned, was thought she was lost. She's no longer a martyr, she's a living mascot, a living symbol of what humanity is. And that's a lot of pressure and weight on someone, is something we'll get back to. But at that moment, Ruby is incredibly happy because she spots what they're going to. Boba. And she is incredibly excited about all this. And she asks, is this the right amount of excited? And it brings back so many memories. And she says that they closed up shop in Patch, but opened here. Which I think is a bit of a reach. I think we're just talking fairy tale here because, there's nothing on Patch that we've seen. And we've never heard of this place. We're just pulling this one out, but you know what, it's fine, I don't care. I think it would have meant more if it was just our Boba shop, but yeah, she relates it to something they used to do together rather than it being the actual shop that they used to go, but it doesn't matter. I'm not criticizing it that much, it doesn't really make a difference, but it's just an interesting idea that a Boba shop on Patch that they used to attend as girls before all of this has moved here and got property here and opened the shop back up here and is successful and sustainable, whatever. But either way, the point is they're going to get Boba. It's something they used to do together. It's something that they enjoy. It's very normal. And that obviously means a lot in times like this, Normality is hard to find. And they drop the one bit of lore we get for this whole episode, which is, this is something we used to do with Dad. We used to go here with Dad, you remember? And Yang brings up, do you think it's weird that he's the only one not here? And thank you for saying that, but yeah, it is weird. And we have our explanation. We have someone outright say, it's Yang, says, Crow said he's on assignment. And maybe we don't have the full picture. And that's true, we don't have the full picture of the world and what's going on right now. The best I can assume is that he's on assignment perhaps with Glinda, because we heard Glinda stayed behind to get reinforcements and try and bring people, and if he's in Patch, which is right next to Vale, maybe he did the same. Maybe he was one of the resources that she could call on to go up. That's in my head canon. I'm assuming he's helping Glinda, because that means he's doing something important with a character we know, doing a thing. But the fact that he isn't here, that their father isn't here, that he didn't come to avenge them when he thought they were dead, and didn't come to, see them when the revelation is they're alive. And we have a way to do that. We have Raven. We have people who can go get him and bring him back. We have his friends here, we have Oobleck and Port, people we've seen him spending time with. So it certainly does feel odd. All I can think is that, the crown wasn't actually in the vault, because there's that whole the vault is in the vault thing at Vale, and Glinda has the crown and is on the run, and met up with him, and Ty and Glinda are on the run, keeping themselves separate from the rest of the collection of the world, because that's where Salem would expect the crown to be, to keep it safe, and perhaps they're using it to make decisions or something. That's the best I've got. That means that they're doing something really important that makes sense. But anyway, we'll go back to what's actually in the episode. And they do say, perhaps maybe we don't have the full picture again, and it's true that we don't. But it is interesting that they're left wondering about this. And again, they have the easy solution. They could walk to Raven right now, say open a portal to Dad, step through and be there in seconds. They could see him in a moment and travel back at any time, because Crow is here. We know Raven can portal to both of them. So the fact that isn't happening it's not just odd, it's something that almost requires an explanation, but not one we're going to get right now. I guess that's one of the mysteries we're going to leave up to the future, but it does feel like something that, at least as an audience member, I want explained. Literally, you could go see him in 10 seconds. I mean, obviously Raven would have to agree to open the portal, and maybe tensions are bad there, but still, it is something you're entirely capable of doing. And obviously we don't get the answer to doing that. But back to the meat of the episode, this is where Yang does the awkward speech. And the awkward speech is something that I don't know how many people have had to do, but it's a real thing that comes up in life when something really serious happens, like perhaps what, in a sense, RWBY did. Which is, I don't need an explanation, I think I get it. And she says, I understand my part in you feeling like you couldn't talk to anybody, but I need you to know you're not alone. And we're not going back to the version of Team RWBY where it's all on your shoulders. And this is Yang. Essentially, it's the conversation you have to sit down and have with someone when they've perhaps tried something drastic and it hasn't worked, or when you realize how bad of a place someone was in, and you didn't know or didn't realize, and you have to bring it up. It's not just an unsaid thing that just goes without saying. You have to be responsible, and at some point in private, sit down with the person and say, hey, you did this, you tried this, and I have to self-reflect and know where you're coming from. And we have to live and have a relationship where we know this happened. But also, it's not going to dominate the rest of our lives. It's not something that we're going to carry with us forever, but I need you to know that A, I get it, and if I don't get it, explain it to me. And B, that I'm here for you, and we need to change things moving forward because we don't want it to happen again. And this is Yang doing that. This is being more than sisters. This is being a real friend to someone. Doesn't matter your relation. But this is a very difficult conversation, a very real conversation. It's something that shouldn't be taken lightly, and it's something that I'm very, very, very glad is included here. This is awkward to do. This is something that Yang didn't bring the team together to do this. This is just Yang and RWBY. This is just, hey, we need to talk about this, and it doesn't matter what happens in the future or what happened in the past. We need to understand each other now, and we need to talk about things moving forward and how things are going to be. And I found it very real, and I found it very interesting. And it can be this quick. It doesn't have to be 2 hours of conversation. It's just, hey, I wanted to say these things to you, and now I've said them. And RWBY responded in a very believable way, which is, Yang says, we're not going to go back to the version of Team RWBY where it's all on your shoulders. And then she says, well, RWBY says, the hardest thing about being a leader is asking for help, which is very true. If you feel like you have an obligation, you just take what's coming on your shoulders. You just keep pushing forward, keep moving forward, which is for the show. But you do that. You take the weight on yourself, and you don't ask for help because you feel it's your responsibility. And you've got through things in the past, so you can get through them in the future. It doesn't really matter. But those things do pile up, and they do weigh on people, and those weights get heavier as time goes on and as responsibilities increase and as things get harder. But you're already in the frame of mind where asking for help feels like the wrong thing to do or something you don't know how to do. And she says that RWBY says, I don't know how to ask for help. And you can understand why. She always wanted to prove herself. She's the youngest, she's the leader, she's all these things. Asking for help is a sign of weakness, and that's something she can't portray, or something she felt she couldn't portray, especially to her team, to everyone looking for her. And again, we got that here, right? We got the audience, the refugees asking, are you RWBY? Can we have a photo? Oh, how great is that? You can't let those people know that you need help. That feels wrong. But it's obviously not. It's okay to ask for help, but it's hard to process that. So they come up with a solution. I don't know how to ask for help. Well, maybe we need a code word. How about Boba? Yeah, Boba. Let's do that. And it's one of those things where, it might sound silly, but something like that can really be useful. A code word to those who know that you need help, but you don't have to say those words. You can relay a feeling, relay a moment, relay a relationship to someone through an innocuous word that no one else will get, just to be like, hey, I need help. And if you're someone who's gone through a rough patch, or someone who's known someone who has, things like this are actually very real. So if this is where we're ending Beyond, RWBY feels comfortable in asking her sister for help by using a code word to hide it from the rest of the world, to hide it from the refugees looking to her for a solution. But they have that connection. That's really important. That's really deep. And to leave RWBY on the note of it's okay to ask for help, even if you need to find a code word, to find those people who will be willing to help you, that's a very nice sentiment. And then we get a joke. Oh, by the way, you promised me to go shopping weeks ago. Blah, blah, blah. We go out on a joke and things are nice. And things are back to normal, or the team is back to normal, and we're awaiting whatever happens next, if anything happens next. It's a fitting place to leave the show, and I feel like it achieved a fair bit. So that's that. I suppose while we're here, I should talk about the epilogue, the animatic. I still haven't made a video on that. I still might make one now that we've seen Beyond, and go back to it. I don't know how many people will watch it, but there's a chance I will. And I guess we should talk about Beyond in general. Did it achieve what we wanted it to achieve? I think yes. I think there were less answers than people wanted in general. I think people wanted to know, where Ty is, not just that he's not here. What happened with Crow, all these things. But I think people built up in their heads what this was going to be. And it feels like this changed what it was going to be. It didn't end up just being the tales of things that happened on Remnant. It ended up being just checking in at various points around it. And I can see people being mad at the Somewhat episode because it's, in the ever after, and why are we going back there? If we are going back there, we've already got the staff back. Like, that's crazy. Why are we going back? That would be at the end of everything, or at least getting the staff back from Salem. So that seems so far off. But I do think it's interesting that we have this spread of how things went. And we do have little teasers all over the place. We have, the woman in the cloak. We don't have answers on where Glinda is and where Ty is, and that they're doing something. We have a lot of questions about Oz. We have weirdly checked in with the Ever After, and things are going well, but that doesn't help us here for now, we don't think. Little check-ins with how Nora seems to be doing. We have little just dots of just how everything is going. And we have questions about Jean's future and how that's going. We have lots of questions about Oz and the merging. So we are left in a place of tantalizing questions. And we also have established the future of Team RWBY. At least we have established their dynamic moving forward and how they have come back together and how they're dealing with these serious issues with this episode. And here we sit. This is going to be the end for a long time. Even if it's picked up and continued, it's going to be a long time until that's made, and it's going to be a while before that's decided. So this is the last we'll probably see of RWBY for a couple years, if it's picked up, or ever. So it's as far as a place to end, having RWBY talk about trauma and having RWBY and Yang come together and talk about the seriousness of these things, but also as a family with a sisterly bond and going out on a joke and happy tones. That's a nice place to end things. It's very much we don't know what will happen next, but here's what we've achieved and here's where we are. And all that they can do and all that we can do is wait and see. So for whenever that is, I guess we'll wait and see. And whatever happens, I hope I'll be here to talk about it with you all, because I've enjoyed talking about RWBY so much. It's been a big part of my life for a while, and I'm glad I got to share it with you all, and that goes for this episode too. So until next time, my name is Rhaegar. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you keep loving RWBY, and until next time, I hope I did alright.